the type of budget. From the income statement, we can work on the balance sheet. The balance sheet is developed like the income statement, using figures from the previous budgeted schedules. These budget schedules, the latest ones, if you can remember the cash budget, we were left with only cash at the end of the year of $33,400. This is the amount that I have to put on my balance sheet when I'm closing the year December 31st. The account receivable. The account receivable is, as you remember, 30% of the fourth quarter sales. So the sales that I sold during the fourth quarter, 70% collected during that fourth quarter, and 30% are postponed for the next year. So here I have receivables in the market, which is 30% of the fourth quarter sales, which is now amounting to 420,000 dirham. Again, here in the raw material, this is raw material, this is the inventory that I have. That figure is specific. This is the ending raw material that will be 22,500 pounds, if you can remember. And at a cost of 0.8 dirham per pound, so the ending material will be costing 18,000 dirham. Again, moving down to the finished goods, this is the raw material goods. We have the finished goods that I have to keep in mind. The finished goods, that figure comes from the six schedules that we talked about. The amount was 148,800. Now, on the balance sheet, we have cash I have on my hand, accounts receivable, I will receive them during the first quarter of next year, raw material inventory that I have to use to produce the finished goods. I have finished goods available, so all of these are considered as current assets, as short-term assets. They amount to 620,200 dirham. Again, for the company, we have some plant and equipment. When we talk about the plant and equipment, we have to go back to the previous year. Land, the value of land is the same. The value of land, it does not change. It is 300,000 dirham. As for the building and equipment, the figures that we have on the 31st December 2011, the figure for the balance sheet for that item of building and equipment, we have to add on it whatever we bought during the year. During the year, building and equipment, if you remember, we purchased 75,000 in equipment for each quarter. So accordingly, the year started with 2,600,000 dirham, and we ended the year with this amount of additional equipment during the year. As for the accumulated depreciation, remember at each stage, we reduce the depreciation being a non-cash item. So that depreciation that started, we have the amount of 1,480,000 dirham, which is an accumulated depreciation. This is depreciation that we had on the books at closing of December 31st, 2011, plus depreciation that we added during the 4 consecutive quarters. The total net plant and equipment, so this is land, plus building and equipment, minus and the accumulated depreciation. So we are left with a net of 4,680,000. So the total assets that we have is 5,300,200 dirham. Going to the liabilities, and again, remember from the previous one, the previous schedules that we have. In the previous schedules that we have, 1/2 of the fourth quarter raw material purchases is paid next year. So during the fourth quarter, we paid half of the raw material that we purchased, and we have payables for the next quarter, for the first quarter in the coming year, of half the amount. That half amounted to 111,000 dirham. Moving down to the stockholders' equity, the common stock for the stockholders' equity as at December 31st was 3,173,600 dirham. But remember, from the previous net income statement, we had a loss of 135,000. So from the 3,173,000, we have to deduct the amount to be put in the retained earnings. We have to deduct from the retained earnings the 135,000 in terms of loss. And the retained earnings for that year will become 3,038,600 dirham. So adding the stockholders' equity being the common stock plus the retained earnings, that's 5,188,000. This is stockholders' equity plus whatever we have in terms of current liabilities. We add up to 5,300,200 dirham, which is exactly equal to our assets. Hence, our balance sheet or our budgeted balance sheet is in front of us. Now, if you need to take a minute to think about what we've said before moving